Good morning from Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. We are live now from TVRI World Studio for the opening ceremony of the 10th World Water Forum. Now, the 10th World Water Forum, or WWF 2024, which takes place in Bali, will last until Saturday, and it will discuss four principal discussions: water conservation, clean water and sanitation, food and energy security, and natural disaster mitigation.
Now, it is expected that these 4 points of discussion will provide results in establishing a center of excellence on water and climate resilience or integrated water resources management on small islands, determining World Lake Day or Lake Day World, as well as the inclusion of concrete action results in the form of a list of activities as a follow-up to the World Water Forum 2024.
In addition to the main agenda, there will be 59 side events at the 2024 World Water Forum. One of them is a trilateral meeting between China, Japan, and South Korea to discuss climate change and development of resilient water infrastructure.
Now, President Joko Widodo will open the World Water Forum meeting, and in addition to that, businessman from the United States, Elon Musk, is also scheduled to attend the opening of World Water Forum. So let's start our special report today. I am Luisa Kusnandar.
And I'm Siska Becker. Let's begin our special report on the opening ceremony of the 10th World Water Forum. Water is essential to the lifeline of each living being on this earth. And across parts of the world, people conduct various different rites to show respect to this vital element. Specifically in Balinese tradition, in regard of the island being the host for the 10th World Water Forum, the deep meaning of water's role in life is honored and inherited through a system locally known as subak.
Kalau kita berbicara masalah upacara yang ada di Bali, itu adalah sebuah kegiatan bagaimana manusia senantiasa, khususnya umat Hindu, senantiasa dekat bersama Tuhan. Dalam kitab Bhagavad Gita dengan tegas dikatakan, Patram Pispam Palam Toyam Yome Bakti Prayas Jati Tata Ambakju Pahuan Asnami Paretat Mana. Sabda Tuhan, barang siapa yang mempersembahkan setuyuh air, sebiji buah, selai daun, setangkai bunga, jika dilanasi oleh hati yang tulus ikhlas, itu merupakan persembahan yang sangat utama.
Agama Hindu sering disebut agama tirta. Kenapa disebut agama tirta? Karena
We're back here on the studio in TVRL Worlds in Jakarta, but now we're going to get some live feed from the venue as the opening ceremony will take place soon. Let's see. There we have it. It's early in the morning in Nusa Dua, Bali. Seems like a bright morning. We have good weather, Luisa.
Excellent weather, and today is really the first official day where the forum will begin.
Yes.
Because last night was the gala dinner happening, and
Did you get to see
some of
the celebration?
The celebration where all the delegates and all the leaders of the countries, they seem to be really enjoying themselves, right?
Oh yes, very much so. They let loose.
I guess
night,
that's
Lisa.
what happened.
So we have President Joko Widodo welcoming the delegates one by one. We see a very interesting backdrop there. It seems like a video of waterfalls, very beautiful and very in line with the theme of the World Water Forum.
We can see that there's some music going on, and one by one, all the delegates are coming to the World Water Forum.
Just came out of the car. This is the president of the World Water Council, Louis Fauchon. Now, Louis Fauchon has actually stated that in his experience as president of WWC, never has he seen a World Water Forum so extravagant as the one here in Bali. This is one of the best WWFs.
That's great to hear, Siska.
Very encouraging.
We believe that. I mean, we always think that this World Water Forum is not as sexy as G20, but in fact, as you can see that what's happening in Bali so far, it's been excellent.
Yes.
Like we have a very successful event happening so far.
And there has been a lot
as you can see, like the decoration, it's so beautiful. It's all nature and waterfall.
Quite different from the ones we've had before at G20 and the ASEAN Summit. But still, you can see it is meticulously done by the organizing committee. And it'll be interesting for the delegates to see how Bali has revamped the whole venue into this beautiful, natural area.
I think they're just standing by for some photo op first. And even the music, you can hear that there are some music, the birds,
natural sounds. Yeah. Very soothing, right?
Exactly. And I believe the background is actually one of the waterfalls in Bali that is pretty popular on Instagram, where people will go there to take photos by the waterfalls.
I have seen it before. Yeah, it's been on a lot of backdrops.
So everything is meticulously planned for today.
Exactly, to highlight the beauty of Bali, the traditions, the culture, and also the theme of water as shared prosperity. We have another delegate, another guest coming in. Because of the backlight, it's a bit hard to see exactly. It's just like a silhouette.
Exactly.
Going in, we're going to see soon. Now that's a majestic sight. President Joko Widodo standing in front of that visual of
the waterfall. Yeah. Today is going to be a very busy event. We have a number of forums happening today, and they're going to be discussing a number of things from geopolitics to politics, as well as later on economics. So it's definitely going to be a very busy event happening for the rest of the week.
Yeah, it has been quite busy actually ever since the 16th of May. Now we have the Malaysian delegate coming in, of course, a very important partner for Indonesia, our neighboring brother, and also our ally in assuring the equal access to clean water and sanitation in the region. So as we said before, there has been a lot of side events happening here at WWF, even preceding the opening ceremony. You were at the special report for the Melukat.
That's right. That's actually one of the highlights from the beginning of the event, where all the delegates are invited to the Kura-Kura Island in Bali. And I think it's pretty much, it's a very interesting event because most likely a lot of them have not experienced Melukat or water purification. And that is such a great beginning to this event, because Melukat is actually showing the essence, the importance of water in our daily lives. And for most Balinese, they do melukat every day, where they cleanse themselves with water.
Yeah.
Either they go to a waterfall, or they go to Tampak Siring, or perhaps to the sea.
Yeah. Okay, we have a delegate from UAE coming in. Now, UAE is also a very important partner to Indonesia right here at the WWF. They are going to launch a research facility for mangroves in Bali.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be one of the most sophisticated research facility to research the importance of mangroves in nature conservation.
And we'll be talking more about mangroves later on in special report later.
Exactly.
Such an exciting event happening in Bali, and can you imagine how amazing it is for us to be hosting this 10th World Water Forum. This is the first time Indonesia has ever hosted this event.
Yes.
And just welcoming everyone to Bali is just the perfect place to be hosting this event.
The perfect backdrop, not only for its beautiful nature and tradition, and because they've known how to throw international events. We've had the practice, they know the drill, they know how to throw an event. But not only that, but it's so fitting that Bali is chosen as the host for the World Water Forum, because in Balinese culture, water is so revered. As you said, the melukat tradition, that's like daily life for Balinese people, and how they see water as something so precious will be such a source of inspiration for the other delegates.
Of course. And Balinese, they love not just water, they don't just appreciate water in their daily life, but they also appreciate nature a lot.
Delegate from Papua New Guinea is also now arriving. Another neighbor of Indonesia to the east.
Of Indonesia. Such a great weather there in Bali today, and we're hoping for great weather for the rest of the week, so they can all enjoy the beauty of Bali.
Yes, while also sharing ideas and knowledge and experiences in how to tackle water-related issues in their own countries, and how we all can be a problem solver to this global challenge. Now, this is an important event indeed for President Joko Widodo, because this will be his last international event while he is still in office. So this will be one of his last legacies as leader of Indonesia.
And I'm pretty sure this will be the event that will leave a very good lasting impression for him.
I'm sure of that, yes.
Yeah. Hundreds of delegates are going to be present at this forum for the rest of the week. And of course, we are praying that this forum will also bring a lot of solution to all the problems, water-related problems around the world.
That's true, Luisa. And not just solutions, but tangible deliverables that can turn into policies and practices that can be implemented in our daily lives. I think around 9,000, if not even more, attendees are expected to come to the forum from more than 100 countries all congregating in Bali right now.
Even Elon Musk has arrived in Bali.
Yes, that's true.
So this event is really gaining so much popularity in the world.
Yeah, the eyes of the world is now on Bali,
in
Indonesia.
Bali, that's right.
She might be commenting about the celebration last night, the gala dinner, if I could guess. It was such a great night, Luisa. I mean, sure, you saw the concert. All right, while the delegates are coming in, we're now going to greet our guest experts who have joined us online by Zoom. Good morning to Dr. Mego Pinandito, Deputy Chairman for Development Policy at BRIN, and also Fia Azlia Widiadi, Research Associate, Climate Policy and Research Unit, CSIS Indonesia. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. Very nice to meet you all. with the Indonesian event today.
Of course, it's our pleasure also to have you. We cannot wait for us to learn more about this event and its impact for Indonesia and also the global impact as well. So maybe Dr. Mego Pinandito, you can start us off by saying what you think of the 10th World Water Forum that has been taking place in Bali since 16th of May until today. We're going to see the opening ceremony. What's your thoughts so far on the event?
Yes, I think this is very important, not only for Indonesia, but almost all of the global, because now we're facing any challenges regarding to the water scarcity, and also what kind of the issue that will be discussed in this forum. So it is very important for Indonesia and for of the human being who live in the global today.
Right, thank you, Doctor. And if we can just go on to Mbak Fia Aslia Widyadi, a research associate and from the Climate Policy Research Unit, or from the CSIS Indonesia. Mbak Fia, we have yet to see the forum starting today, but so far, what do you make of the World Water Forum that has started for the past 2 days, and what is the importance of having the World Water Forum?
Yeah. Certainly. I think one significant way for countries to collaborate is through international platform such as World Water Forum, and it convened stakeholders from different countries across continents. And this platform not only strategic in fostering discussions in politics or water governance, but these platforms also enable sharing of best practices and technology transfer by in-depth discussions regarding the water governance or water management practice in global level or even at international level. So I think this forum, it's really an important event and huge opportunity for countries, especially Indonesia as a host countries, to engage more in this kind of discussions for a more sustainable water management practices.
Right, thank you, Mbak Fia. Now, next question to both of you. The theme for the 10th World Water Forum is Water for Shared Prosperity. Now, maybe you can tell us more about the meaning behind this theme. Does it mean there is a severe lack of equal access to clean water and sanitation throughout the world? What are your thoughts? And maybe you have some background information on this as well. Dr. Mego, please.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. I think almost all of the countries in the world now facing for these issues. So we have to talk about, for example, how the technology will be discussing, and how to the policy, for example, and how to link with the social and also the society. I think each country has a different problem according to the needs for the water, the society itself, the geographically tradition and others. So we are looking for the various alternatives by each countries to learn together to solve the water problem in the country. So collaborated and conduct the joint research to adopt the existing technology. Sometimes we need to purchase the technology and the equipment to install in the countries related to the what they need. So it is very important looking for the one is the how to increase the relationship between others, between the researcher, between the businessman, with the NGO and so on, so that we can also collaborate in joint of the, for example, the management, joint management, like for the water resources, for the rivers and lakes, and strengthening the cooperation in technology, the human resource, including the education and human capacity building program, the patterns of management, and also business together. So we need all of the stakeholders to become to one and to face all of the problem in the world by thinking together and decided the new approach, the new method, and new management for water in the world.
Well, yes, and as we can see on the screen that we have, all the delegates coming in from all over the world, and there are more than 100 countries that are involved in this very important event. Now, off to Mbak Fia, we also want to ask the same question here regarding the theme, Water for Shared Prosperity. What do you make of this theme? Why is it so crucial? What elements of this water problem that is very, very crucial to be addressed at this World Water Forum?
Yeah, thank you for the questions. In my opinion, balancing economic development with sustainable water management is a kind of complex but essential task. I think one of the reasons the theme is water for shared prosperity is because currently we're facing global challenges such as climate change, pollution, and also biodiversity loss. And water is an essential and vital part in it. As we can see, water resource management is also kind of vital strategy for a sustainable development. For example, how to ensure that our economic activities do not compromise water availability and quality, and how water can be accessed not only for several people, but for all people, for indigenous people, for local communities, because currently we're facing like drought, severe drought, or extreme events where the access to water itself is quite hard and become a challenges, and how to ensure that everyone can have the same access and the same quality of water. I think that's one of the kind of the message to convey in this year's World Water Forum.
All right, thank you, Mbak Fia. Now back to Dr. Mego. Now, I want to follow up on a statement that you mentioned earlier about the importance of collaboration between different countries to address the water-related issues. Now, could you tell us more about how's the current condition of the collaboration between countries to address water scarcity and quality issues on a global scale? Like which part needs to be improved, which part has been going great? What is the landscape right now in global collaboration on water issues?
Yes, thank you. Regarding to the stage of the international collaboration and cooperation between countries, I think we can look at what is the important and the crucial matters in each countries, so that we can also doing together and help by each other. For example, if we talk about the climate change, which are very give significant impact to the water, we can also discussing regarding to these issues by the international treaty or agreement. For example, various regional and international agreements have been discussing and implemented. For example, from the COP, the Conference of Party, like in climate change conference, we also agree with the net zero emission setting by each governmental agencies, the system for the management of water system, and so on. Of course, we cannot what we call forget that we need to extend and also to increase the literacy, the education of the people who are daily facing for the problem, how to make them more understand about how to, for example, to conserve the water itself and also the water resources, that is including from the upstream and downstream, in the village, in the mountain, in the highlands, until that the river itself is flow to the, for example, to the lake, to the dam, and so on, so that we can also use almost all of the water in the river as the resource for the water processing unit for the drinking water and so on. Again, we have to look at what the water resources itself. We have to learn more, for example, to utilize and manage the water resources in more environmentally friendly manners, to protect again the forest area, the upstream river area, to maintain the lakes and the reservoir. Everything should be in synergy with the purpose of the, for example, in agriculture, we need water, fisheries, even by tourism. That we know that we are very happy to sit and look at for the very beautiful lake and so on. And of course, we do not forget that we need energy production and so on. So it can be done by sharing the information globally through the bilateral and multilateral agreement. So we need our friends, our neighbors to do together.
Dr. Mego, you mentioned that just now that this forum is very important for all these countries to be discussing about international agreement as well as treaties to find more solutions for water access for the entire world. Now, if you can please name to us some of the international agreements or treaties that are already existing at the moment that also need some follow-up, or perhaps are there any new international agreement that needs to be made during this World Water Forum?
Yes, I think several statements that had been discussed for this forum, and of course how to implement it. Some agreement, like for example, coming from the United Nations and the Climate Change Conference, UNFCCC, regarding to the setting of the emission, for example, or how to face the global climate change impact for the countries, and how to implement is really depend on the situation in the country. So we need sit together, for example, by coordinating the ministries and agency in Indonesia, for example. And of course, we try to make some discussion with our neighbor, for example, in ASEAN or the Asia Pacific members countries that we face the same situation. So we can learn by each other how to implement it, the UNFCCC COP results, how to set in the net zero emission as the primary of national policy related to the international statement that we have, how to set the water management system in the very the best practices, so that we can learn and we can also look at all of the statement and also the result that have been discussed and set in the international or international conference or GIGA and some of the discussions. I think really there are many statements that we have to do. And again, we discussed with the ministry agency to come together in the Indonesian and to fight the national interest. I think some also related to the setting of the, for example, the emission setting of the how to set and how to use the water in the best practices in the management and so on.
All right, Dr. Mego, your explanation has been very enlightening so far. Thank you for your thorough explanation on the matter. Now let me go to Mbak Fia. I want to touch upon another highlight of the forum, which has been the interest of putting more investments in Indonesia in terms of water and sanitation. Now, as we understand, I think it was mentioned also by the head of committee of WWF in Indonesia and also the coordinating minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment, Bapak Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, who have said that they're going to reveal a lot of plans for strategic partnerships with a lot of countries with Indonesia that will amount to, I think, around 150 trillion rupiah value of investments. Now, of course, there's this concern about conflict of interest between balancing economic development with sustainable water management. It's always been a question without, how should we balance between sustainable natural environment and sustainable economy? So in your perspective, Mbak Fia, how should the countries that are converging now in Bali should discuss about balancing the economic development with sustainable water management practices? How should they go about it?
Yeah, thank you again for the questions. This is a very interesting topic because it's been on discussion back and forth about balancing economic development and pursuing sustainable development. Indeed, it is a crucial task to balance these two aspects, but countries are implementing, for example, integrated water resource management, which should consider all water uses, for example, for agricultural, industrial, domestic, or other activities, with the approach that our economic activities do not compromise the water availability and quality access to people. And for example, water conservation efforts such as promoting water efficient technologies and practices like water rain harvesting is also key to help in pursuing sustainable development. And then improving water supply and sanitation infrastructure is also other crucial aspects because it will significantly boost economic growth and also aid in poverty reduction. So these two things can go in line. And then investing in green technologies such as recycling wastewater for industrial use or urban landscaping. This could further support sustainable practices because we can implement circular economy in the process. So I think innovative technologies and effective approach is indeed needed in ensuring to balance economic development with sustainable water management practices. But however, we need to also put attention to do not make a privatization of water access. So we can share the access to local communities and also indigenous communities, which often being overlooked by our economic practices such as industrialization.
All right. Thank you so much, Mbak Fia. Now, talking about big investment coming to Indonesia, another highlight is, of course, the arrival of Elon Musk in Indonesia to attend the World Water Forum and also for the launching of Starlink. That'll happen also in Bali. Now, we hear that Elon Musk is attending also the ceremony, the opening ceremony for World Water Forum. We'll just see if we can have a visual of him. And I think this is about to begin now as we see the delegates along with President Joko Widodo and the President of the World Water Council coming in to inside of the venue.
Please be seated. Your Majesty, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening ceremony of the 10th World Water Forum 2024. Let us immerse ourselves in the harmonious display of music and dance, a reflection of Mother Nature's message, an embodiment of resilience, paving the way towards shared prosperity for all.
Indonesia, a maritime country. Dive into the depths of our aquatic wonders, where livelihoods intertwine with the rhythm and harmony.
this morning. Witness our earth is in pain. Rivers dry, sky is turning pale. Floods and fear have lost the trail. Hearts break, longing to make things right. Together, our love and care will Hello, people of the world. Let's unite and take action. Together we stand and try. With urban will thrive. Together share prosperity as our visions clear. Together, in here, we're soaring up
Your Majesty, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you enjoy an incredible performance by Indonesia's brightest talents, the harmonious collaborations of Purwacaraka's orchestra and choir, Udayana University Marching Band, and the captivating dance performances truly epitomize the unity of music, art, and culture. We are also lucky to have the talented young singers Shana Shannon and Raffi Sudirman, who inspire our youth, reminding us of the importance of preserving art as well as safeguarding our water resources for all generations to come. Now, we are honored to have a prominent speaker among us this morning. Kindly invite the remarks from Mr. Elon Musk.
Hello, everyone. Well, I must say I'm very impressed with this. This meeting room is amazing. I feel like I'm in a waterfall. And it's really lovely here. And that was incredible performance. So I must say I'm quite delighted to be here this morning talking to you and to experience this wonderful event and everything that Indonesia has to offer. It's amazing being here in Bali in Indonesia. So, hopefully everyone saw the mangrove forests because those are very impressive. It's several 100,000 acres of mangroves that I think have been replanted, if I recall correctly. So there are a lot of great things happening in Indonesia and the rest of the world. Overall, I would say I'm quite sort of optimistic for the future. I think we should never be complacent or entitled, but I do think that if we're not complacent or entitled, that the future will actually be great for the world. And I think we're headed to a bright future overall. And with respect to water, I've always thought, we call Earth Earth, but actually Earth is 70% water by surface area. So technically, I think if aliens came here and a lot of people think aliens have come here, because they're always asking me about aliens. They would name us water, because we are 70% water and only 30% land. So what that means is the potential for solving any given water issue is extremely good because there is so much water. There's obviously desalination required at times and the transport of water, but desalination, as I think most people know, has become very inexpensive and so really the availability of fresh water is simply about energy and transport. So that's, when I talk to even very well-read, very smart people in the United States, they will often think, well, the water crisis is unsolvable. But in fact, it is very solvable. And there are continuing breakthroughs in the efficiency of desalination. And anyway, I think we've got a great water future ahead of us, and I think a great sustainable energy future ahead of us. Yes. So anyway, hopefully that is. I'm kicking things off on a positive note, but I think with good basis for doing so. Yeah. With that, I think the next section is really just some questions or Q&A. If anyone would like to ask me anything about anything, I suppose we should generally stick to the topic of water, given that it's the water conference. But I'm happy to answer other questions as well. I'm not quite sure how the logistics of question posing works, but you could just say a question. Sure. If I heard correctly, what is the most important thing for solving the water crisis? Okay. Well, the exact solution will vary depending upon country and even region within a country. But as I mentioned, because the cost of desalination has dropped so much, if you're just talking about water for individual consumption or water in, say, a hydroponics facility, some kind of, where you're not simply putting it on the ground for crops, but actually have some sort of contained facility that minimizes the amount of evaporation, I think you can basically turn any part of the world green, including the entire world. So it just begs the question of where does the energy come from? And here's where I think solar energy is very much underestimated in terms of its capability. So if you think about what would the Earth be without the sun? The Earth would be a frozen dark ice ball at roughly 3 degrees above absolute zero. It would be quite unpleasant. So, very cold and dark. But because of the sun, we're at quite a nice temperature, quite pleasant, sort of roughly 300 degrees above absolute zero. And the sun powers almost the entire ecosystem is solar powered. When you say well, how much land would it take to generate electricity? There's a gigawatt per square kilometer of solar radiation that reaches the surface. So for every square kilometer, there's a peak power of roughly a gigawatt, which is comparable to a power station. Now, the sun doesn't shine all the time, obviously. So when you net all of that out and say, well, how much energy per day does 1 square kilometer yield? It's roughly 1 gigawatt hour per square kilometer per day, which is still a lot. So, and if you do the rough math, to power the United States, which is a heavy user of electricity, would take less than a 200 kilometer by 200 kilometer solar array, power the entire United States. And if you drive through the United States, there's plenty of sections of the United States where there is basically no people. Or another way to think of it is a small section of the Sahara could power all of Europe. or the world. Now, I'm not saying you would be so concentrated in the placement of solar power, because it's better to be more distributed. But the sheer magnitude of solar power that is available is often not quite understood. But the math of it is very clear. So I really would strongly recommend sort of a solar plus battery combination of, or wind plus solar can solve all of the world's energy needs by a lot.
Developing countries needs also R&D to reduce the price of desalination or desalinated cubic meter of water by 90%, like what happened with the PV. Who is going to support the R&D in this era? Not the developing countries, of course. How we are going to support the researchers?
Yeah, so something that I would encourage everyone in the room to look at is, and you touched on that briefly, is that the cost of solar power has dropped dramatically over the years. So if you were to say, look at the cost of solar power 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, it would have seemed cost prohibitive. But the cost of solar power today is extremely low. And the cost of batteries to store the energy has also dropped dramatically. The cost of battery storage of electricity has dropped by a factor of 10 in the past 5 years. So many of the studies that were done in times past when batteries were very expensive and solar power was very expensive. And I would just encourage everyone to basically take another look at the cost of solar and the cost of batteries, and I think you'll find that you're pleasantly surprised. So. All right, time to wrap it up. Yes, okay, thank you. Well, it's an honor to be here, and thank you very much for listening to my words, and I hope you have a fantastic conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ilamas. Please return to respective seat. Your Majesty, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here at the opening ceremony of the 10th World Water Forum 2024, let us honor the memory of His Majesty, the late King Hassan II, and for his strategic vision for his country's sustainable integrated water resources management in addressing the kingdom's water security. Attributed to an individual or a group of natural or legal person, whether public or private, and integrated to reward actions that promote the protections and preservations of water resources, improvement in their management, reuse of wastewater, as well as raising awareness among the populations about water issues. This is the King Hassan II Great World Water Prize.
Morocco, a hospitable and welcoming country that dates back thousands of years, has seen inclusive development recently in many sectors, including modern infrastructure, new urban mobilities, connecting territories, renewable energies, hosting major sportive events, and much more. To accompany the socio-economic development of the country, Morocco has adopted a dynamic, anticipatory, and sustainable water policy, which considers several challenges, in particular climate change.
واجب المسؤولية يتطلب اليوم اعتماد اختيارات مستدامة ومتكاملة والتحلي بروح التضامن والفعالية في إطار المخطط الوطني الجديد للماء الذي ندعو إلى التعجيل بتفعيله. ونريد التركيز هنا على بعض التوجهات الرئيسية: ضرورة إطلاق برامج ومبادرات أكثر طموحا واستثمار الابتكارات والتكنولوجيات الحديثة في مجال اقتصاد الماء وإعادة استخدام المياه العادمة.
Thanks to the water-wise policy of His Majesty King Mohammed VI, may God assist him, a continuation of the visionary water policy initiated by the late His Majesty King Hassan II, the Kingdom of Morocco has an important hydraulic infrastructure and internationally recognized expertise. This infrastructure has guaranteed the availability and accessibility of water, which contributed to the socio-economic development of the country and the prosperity of its people. The country currently has 154 large dams, with a total capacity of nearly 20 billion cubic meters, with 17 under construction. The Water Highway of Morocco, a major achievement, is considered as a model of interbasin solidarity. The first urgent section, connecting the Sebou and Boura Greg basins over 67 kilometers, was completed in record time with Moroccan expertise. It is part of the major project of water transfer to Al Masira Dam. Moreover, Morocco is diversifying its sources of water supply in order to meet its needs for drinking water, irrigation, and industrial purposes, particularly through the mobilization of non-conventional water resources. 15 seawater desalination plants have been built with a capacity of 192 million cubic meters per year, including those in Agadir, Safi, and Jofla Sfar. Other plants will be built, including in Dakhla and Casablanca. The goal is to reach a production capacity of 1.7 billion cubic meters by 2030, using renewable energy and taking into account the water-energy-food nexus. The treated wastewater reuse is also increasing significantly for the watering of green spaces and golf courses. By 2027, the current volume of treated wastewater reused will triple. Morocco also works on water demand management and its economy through improving the efficiency of drinking water and irrigation distribution networks, as well as promoting water efficiency. Concrete actions combined with an unprecedented drive to raise awareness are leading to encourage citizens to change their behavior and adopt responsible consumption practices. Morocco continues to reiterate its commitment to this cause at international level, an engagement illustrated particularly through the Hassan II World Water Prize, an initiative led since 2002 jointly by the Kingdom of Morocco and the World Water Council. In its 8th edition, this prestigious prize of $500,000 rewards actions and innovations in favor of water security for food sovereignty and shared prosperity.
We kindly invite the head of government of the Kingdom of Morocco, His Excellency Mr. Aziz Akhanouch, to convey his remarks.
C'est bon. Merci. Je vais vous laisser le temps de prendre le masque parce que je vais parler en français. Merci. Je voudrais tout d'abord remercier Monsieur le Président, le gouvernement et le peuple indonésien de l'accueil chaleureux qui nous a été réservé et vous féliciter pour la réussite de ce grand événement. Nous sommes présents ici, je représente le Royaume du Maroc, pour vous présenter le prix Hassan II, un prix lié à la personnalité du feu, le roi Hassan II, qui a fait énormément pour la politique de l'eau et le développement durable de l'eau à travers la construction de barrages et de réseaux d'irrigation. Mais également, c'est l'occasion de rendre aussi hommage à Sa Majesté le roi Mohammed VI, qui a engagé un programme ambitieux de l'ordre de 14 milliards de dollars pour la durabilité de l'eau, continuer à construire les barrages d'eau, le transfert d'eau de bassin à bassin, mais également plusieurs unités de dessalement dans les grandes villes comme Casablanca, comme Agadir, comme Tanger, qui verront le développement de ce réseau non conventionnel. Le prix Hassan II donc, est un hommage à ces grandes personnalités. Nous l'avons eu beaucoup de candidats cette année, plus de 80 candidats, sont tous très bons. Le choix a été fait pour une organisation internationale qui a le souci de l'utilisation de l'eau, qui a également la responsabilité de s'occuper pour nourrir le monde. Donc le vainqueur, c'est la FAO, et je demande aux représentants de la FAO de se présenter.
Excellency, can you remain on the stage? Now we would like to invite the President of the World Water Council, Mr. Louis Fauchon, and the Minister of Equipment and Water of the Kingdom of Morocco, His Excellency Mr. Nizar Baraka, also the King Hassan II awardee, to come on the stage. Let us count down for the photo stations in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Mr. Louis Fauchon, kindly remain on stage to convey the remarks. And thank you for His Excellency Mr. Aziz Akhanouch and His Excellency Mr. Nizar Baraka, also the King Hassan II awardee. Please return to respective seats.
Good evening, good morning, everybody. It's difficult to speak after Elon Musk. Sorry, other issues to discuss. I'd like to thank Mr. President and the government of Indonesia. You remember, Mr. President, during the G20, I asked you to be a water messenger, and you have been the water messenger. And I would like to thank you again and again. But be the better and the best messengers today is not enough. We need to do more if we want to spare and save water for peace and prosperity. And so now we need to be fighters. And more than fighters, we need to be water warriors. All together, water warriors. And I'd just like to say that today I would like to cry and to shout this obligation to respect nature and to provide water for men. And so, just very shortly, 7 commitments. We, World Water Warriors, want to promote water security policies worldwide in all levels of responsibility. We, World Water Warriors, we want to convince that water sobriety needs the modification of our behavior and change our habits. We, World Water Warriors, we want to upscale the design and application of nature-based solutions at basin level first. We, World Water Warriors, we want to call on all countries to write the right to water in their national constitutions, laws, and local regulations, to propose that step by step the right to access to water becomes enforceable to all. We World Water Warriors, we want to invite you to join a Money for Water coalition to be presented at the next United Nations Conference, which includes sub-sovereignty and cancellation of the debt of water for the poorest countries in the world. We, World Water Warriors, we want to ensure that a high proportion of the various climate funds is naturally devoted to water and without forgetting wastewater. We, World Water Warriors, we want to call for international action to ensure more active, decentralized governance based on multilateral cooperation, as we are doing in this forum, which is also essential for strengthening the rails of mediation for rivers, for lakes, and for basins. A real, true hydro-diplomacy bringing peace to the banks rather than war to the rivers. And in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say to the people in this room and elsewhere in the world, we need you. We want new ideas. We want new debates to write together the future of water. So, with us, be the first World Water Warriors, get involved, and especially you, the youngest in this room and elsewhere, take the hand we are holding out to you. And again, Mr. President, thank you so much for your hospitality, but not only, for this wonderful preparation, for the real diplomatic victory which is crossing this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Louis Fauchon. Please return to your respected seats. Your Majesty, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let us also take this special moment to represent you. Water for shared prosperity.
In a world plagued by the relentless grip of climate change, every living being is feeling the heat.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Species are vanishing, ecosystems collapsing. The balance of life is under threat. Without immediate action, in no time at all, we will lose access to clean water on this planet. The time for change is now. At this year's 10th World Water Forum, driven by the vision of water for shared prosperity, we will embark on more tangible actions through comprehensive stages to seek real solutions.
Indonesia terus berkontribusi.
Indonesia continues to contribute to the efforts
Indonesia
to
has
tackle climate change.
undertaken serious actions in water management. Our approach balances soft and hard actions. Soft actions, rooted in nature, encompass mangrove replanting, forest preservation, sustainable energy, and lake restoration. These initiatives foster water conservation and strengthen ecosystems' resilience. Hard actions involve infrastructure, optimizing irrigation data, constructing dams for hydroelectricity, implementing flood control, and installing large-scale solar floating panels. These efforts enhance water efficiency and harness renewable energy. Additionally, the development of food estates aims to ensure food security while utilizing water resources efficiently. Indonesia recognises the importance of water management in the tourism sector. From pristine beaches to lush rainforests, water plays a crucial role in attracting visitors to our diverse landscape. Therefore, sustainable water management practices are essential to preserve these natural treasures and maintain the allure of Indonesia's tourism industry. All these efforts are deeply rooted in Indonesia's traditions, especially here in Bali, where water is considered sacred and cherished since ancient times. Preserving water has been a practice passed down through generations. Now is the time for all of us, the global community, to come together at the 10th World Water Forum. Let's unite now and grasp this opportunity to discover concrete solutions for these crises and create a future where water security is secured for everyone.
We will now proceed with the presentations of Water for Shared Prosperity book by the World Bank Regional Vice President for East Asia Pacific. Now we kindly invite the President of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Mr. Joko Widodo, to accept the book. Thank you. The welcoming remarks of the President of the Republic of Indonesia.
Yang mulia, para pemimpin negara,
leaders,
pimpinan organisasi
heads of
internasional,
international organizations,
Presiden,
President
Dewan Air
of the World
Dunia,
Water Council,
Ketua DPR
Speaker
Republik
of
Indonesia,
the Indonesian Parliament,
hadirin dan tamu undangan
distinguished
yang saya
guests.
muliakan. Selamat datang di Bali.
Welcome to Bali.
Suatu
It is
kehormatan
an
bagi
honor
Indonesia,
for Indonesia
dipercaya menjadi tuan
to
rumah
host
Forum
the
Air Sedunia yang
10th
ke-10
World Water Forum
untuk
to
meneguhkan komitmen
strengthen
bersama
the commitment of cooperation
dan merumuskan
and
aksi
to
nyata
formulate concrete actions
pengelolaan air yang inklusif
on inclusive
dan
and
berkelanjutan.
sustainable water management.
Bisa kita bayangkan
We can imagine
dari 72%
the 72%
permukaan bumi yang
of the
tertutup
Earth's
air,
surface that is covered in
hanya
water,
1%
only
yang bisa
1%
diakses
is
dan digunakan
accessible
sebagai
and
air
usable
minum dan
as drinking water
keperluan
and
sanitasi.
for sanitation purposes.
Bahkan di tahun 2050,
In 2050,
500 juta petani
500
kecil sebagai
million small
penyumbang
farmers
80%
as
pangan
contributors
dunia
to
diprediksi paling
80% of the
rentan
global food supply
mengalami
are predicted to become
kekeringan.
most vulnerable to drought.
Tanpa air,
Without
tidak
water,
ada makanan,
there will be no food,
tidak ada
there
perdamaian,
will be no
tidak
peace,
ada kehidupan,
there will be no life,
no water,
no water,
life,
no
no
life,
growth.
no growth.
Oleh sebab itu,
For this reason,
air harus
water
dikelola
must be
dengan
managed
baik karena
properly
setiap
because
tetesnya sangat
every
berharga.
drop is valuable.
Yang mulia,
Excellencies,
sebagai negara dengan luas
as a country,
perarian yang
having a
mencapai
water area
65%,
reaching
Indonesia
65%,
kaya
Indonesia
kearifan
is
lokal
rich in
dalam
local wisdom
pengelolaan air,
in water
mulai
management,
dari
starting from
sepanjang garis pantai,
all across its coastlines,
pinggiran, aliran sungai,
its riverbanks,
sampai tepian
all the way
danau.
to its lake shores.
Masyarakat kami
Our
memiliki
people
nilai budaya
places
terhadap air.
cultural value
Salah
on water.
satunya adalah
An example
sistem
is the
pengairan subak
Subak
di
irrigation
Bali
system
yang
in Bali,
dipraktekkan sejak abad ke-11
which has been in use
yang
since the
lalu
11th century
dan diakui sebagai
and is
warisan
recognized
budaya dunia.
as a world cultural heritage.
Selain itu, bagi masyarakat
Moreover,
Bali,
for the
air
people
adalah
of Bali,
kemuliaan
water is
yang
sacred,
mengandung nilai-nilai spiritual
embodying
dan
spiritual
budaya
and cultural
yang harus
values
dikelola
that must be
bersama-sama.
managed together.
Hal tersebut
This is
sejalan dengan tema kita
in line
tahun
with our
ini, yaitu
theme this year, which
air
is
bagi
water for
kemakmuran bersama
common
yang bisa
prosperity
dimaknai
that
menjadi
can be
3
interpreted
prinsip
into 3
dasar,
basic principles,
yaitu
namely
menghindari persaingan,
avoiding competition,
mengedepankan pemerataan dan kerjasama
promoting
inklusif,
equity and inclusive
serta
cooperation,
menyokong
and
perdamaian dan kemakmuran
supporting
bersama.
peace and shared
Di
prosperity.
mana ketiganya hanya bisa
These 3
terwujud
principles
dengan
can only
sebuah
be
kata
realized
kunci,
by one
yaitu
keyword,
kolaborasi.
namely collaboration.
Di Indonesia,
In
kolaborasi
Indonesia,
telah menjadi
collaboration
kunci
has been the
keberhasilan
key to the
dalam
success
merestorasi
of
Sungai
restoring
Citarum,
the Citarum River,
serta pengembangan
as well
energi
as the
hijau,
development of green
solar
energy,
panel terapung di
the
Waduk
Cirata
Cirata
floating solar
yang
panel
menjadi terbesar
that has
di
become
Asia
the
Tenggara
largest in
dan
Southeast Asia
ketiga di
and
dunia.
the 3rd largest in the world.
Yang mulia, dengan
Excellencies,
berkumpulnya kita
through
di
our
Bali
gathering today in
hari
Bali,
ini, tentu Indonesia berharap
Indonesia generally hopes
dunia dapat
that
saling
the world
bergandengan tangan
can work hand in
secara
hand
berkesinambungan
sustainably
untuk dapat
in
memperkuat
strengthening
komitmen
our commitment
kolaborasi
for collaboration
dalam mengatasi
in
tantangan
addressing
global terkait air.
global water-related
Let's
challenges.
preserve
Let's
our
preserve
water
our water today
for
our shared prosperity tomorrow.
And
And
in relation to
in relation
continuity,
to continuity,
in October,
my term as president will come to an end.
And on this good occasion, allow me to introduce the President-elect of Indonesia, Mr. Prabowo Subianto, who is currently serving as the Minister of Defense, who will continue Indonesia's commitment to contribute towards water management. Terima kasih, Pak Prabowo.
Thank you, Mr. Prabowo.
Yang mulia,
Excellencies,
air adalah sumber
water is
kehidupan.
a source of life.
Air juga
Water is
merupakan
also
simbol
a symbol
keseimbangan dan
of
keharmonisan.
balance and harmony.
Namun,
Nevertheless,
jika tidak
if
dikelola dengan
water
baik,
is
air
not
juga
managed
dapat menjadi
properly, water
sumber
can become
bencana.
a source of disaster.
Dan dengan mengucap
And by reciting Bismillahirrahmanirrahim,
Forum Air
the
Sedunia ke-10
10th
secara
World Water
resmi
Forum
saya
I
nyatakan
hereby
dibuka.
officially
Terima
declare
kasih.
open. Thank you.
And now, accompanied by Mr. Louis Fashong, His Excellency Mr. Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Her Excellency Mrs. Retno Marsudi, and His Excellency Mr. Basuki Hadi Mulyono, we invite to the stage to finally opening the 10th World Water Forum. By the count of 3, 2, 1.
Harnessing the power as one. For the brightest smile on every face. For the future of our home. Welcome to the 10th World Water Forum 2024. Water for shared prosperity.
Thank you, Excellencies. Your Majesty, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed the opening ceremony of the 10th World Water Forum 2024. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the departure of the leaders. We cordially invite the head of states and or governments as well as ministers participating at the high-level meeting to proceed to Nusantara Ballroom. The meeting will be preceded by photo sessions at the foyer of Nusantara Room. Once again, we cordially invite the head of states and or governments as well as ministers participating at the high-level meeting to proceed to Nusantara Ballroom. The meeting will be preceded by photo sessions at the foyer of Nusantara Room. Once again, thank you for your unwavering support for the 10th World Water Forum 2024. Have a wonderful days ahead in Indonesia.
We just witnessed the opening ceremony of the 10th World Water Forum. It was an interesting morning indeed. We started off with an impromptu speech by Elon Musk,
the CEO of SpaceX.
Yes.
Where he mentioned about water crisis in the
Yes.
world and how to manage water and to find solutions in this water forum, as well as a quick impromptu Q&A session with some of the attendees at the World Water Forum.
That was quite fascinating to watch. But he made some important statements as well about the importance of water, especially having the earth 70% of water, so water-related issues are indeed crucial. And then it was followed by another session led by His Excellency Aziz Akanuch, the Prime Minister of Morocco, to talk about King Hassan II Great World Water Prize. And then we had the President of World Water Council, Louis Fauchon, to talk about being water warriors. That was also a very interesting
That was very
speech.
interesting speech, yeah. Well, he mentioned that there are 7 commitments that we need to work together, everyone in this world, as people of the planet, how to find solutions and to be committed to sustain water for our continuous living. And he also calls for all the countries to propose local and as well as international regulations for clean access of water. And then it was followed by our very own President Joko Widodo, where he also said that this whole, the whole point of having the World Water Forum is to formulate solutions for water management. He said that it is somewhat ironic that, this earth, we have 70% covered by water, but then there's only 1% of water that is used by sanitation. So this is a really, really sad fact. But on the other hand, it is also a good thing knowing that we still are abundant of water and that we are early in finding solutions for clean access and also water management for the future.
Yeah, and I think it's a very good point that he made when he mentioned the key word is collaboration. So collaboration between countries and different stakeholders. So not just the countries, not just the governments, but also the private sectors, academias, everybody has to work together because it is a global issue. So it needs a global solution. And then another highlight of his speech, I believe, was when he introduced his successor, President-elect Prabowo Subianto, to reiterate their commitment, the Indonesian commitment, to be able to be one of the leading countries in water solution.
Yep, and he also mentioned that this is proof that we Indonesians are still going forward with our water commitment ahead. And also as an end note, he said that, without water, there is no life and also no growth. So that is how important water is to our well-being. And besides that, at the end of this whole procession, we have the President of the World Water Forum, Louis Fauchon, as well as Minister Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, Minister Retno Marsudi, as well as Minister Basuki Hadimulyono. And together they opened the World Water Forum officially.
Yes, and then they were all escorted out of the venue to begin the conference.
Yes, finally.
On how to find solutions for water-related crises. Now, Luisa, as I understand, all throughout this conference until Saturday, there'll be more than 200 sessions talking about different aspects of water-related issues, from water as a natural resource to natural disaster mitigation, water diplomacy, and also innovation and technology. So that there's a lot of topics to cover. All right, so now let's go over to our experts who are still joining us via Zoom. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, before we resume our conversation about water-related issues, maybe we can get your opinion on the opening ceremony that we just saw together. First, Dr. Mego, what do you think of President Joko Widodo's speech that we just saw together?
Very much. We just looking for the very, very important and significant event, especially as you discussed, we saw the Elon Musk, we saw the country's leaders, and also finally by the president of Jokowi. I think first we have to send our congratulations to all of member of countries, especially to Indonesian government, to be successfully to host the 10th World Water Forum 2024 today, and it will be a week, yeah, I think a week time for more than 200 events, and we are also believe that it is very important to all of the members, all of the participants who are participate and directly visit Bali. On the other hand, I think as the president said about no water, no food, no growth, no lives. Again, we have to look at the, especially for Indonesia, the local wisdom that is coming from the ancients regarding to the subak, for example. There is only one how to the traditional water management system that has been perfectly implemented. And of course, we need the collaboration, not only with the science, but also the technology, the investment, and also another hope that inclusively. So whatever the problem, we can also get together to come together with all of the stakeholders to find out. So I think, for example, how to link with the economy and also the water, it can be realized that almost all of the countries are certainly think that economic development are very important. But again, how to keep and how to maintain the environmental balance for the sustainable development need many efforts. Utilize and manage the water resources in the more environmentally manners to protect forests and so on. Everything should be in balance between the agriculture, fishery, tourism, energy production, and others. So we can also doing and looking for the example in Bali. We know that the local government of Bali are set the tourism as the primary economy pillars, yeah, in Indonesia. That is also looking for Indonesia, but again, by setting the tourism, it needs, as we know, that tourism need clear water supply very well, and it will give impact to the need of the water, clean water, drinking water, and also another processing facility. But in other hand, it needs also more tourism, more wastewater, so that we need the processing unit. So how many appropriate number? It needs more investment. So beside the economical, we have to look at for the environmental, and we have to look at the good governance. So the local government need, for example, may need to set some policy to keep in balance, such as policy and regulation on the water efficiency utilization in hotels, to maintain the quantity and the quality water supply effectively. But again, we need to set this as a subak, how to support water for the agriculture, how to support to the fishery. By setting up the tourism, they're very lovely to look at the green, beautiful, clean and blue lakes, for example, or the green paddy fields in Bali and in the mountain. So there is what we call the balance of the economic development with the sustainable water. I think there is many issue that has been described in the opening ceremony, but again, we need more and more collaboration. Not only under the ministry, but we have to look at all of the ministries, the agencies, the academia, the private company, so that, for example, how to set these needs for the installation or any program. For example, we need to set the understanding about regarding this. We have to set more in the doing research together, not only directly, but again, if you look at the from the upstreams, how to set the research on the producing of the stronger and better trees, for example, on plantation, how to look at the solid and also liquid waste processing and treatment technology for industry and housing wastewater in the center of the river, monitoring technology for managing of the river, lakes, and reservoir, especially for the water resource management. And of course, I don't think so that Elmet didn't mention about the satellite, but development of the remote sensing satellite and the global cooperation in use of the climate and weather information data is very, very important for the climate change, weather modification technology, and of course, the development of the water recycling system, and have been described also the desalination technology, and of course, various other innovation research. Doing collaboration research and innovation, not only with Indonesia, but of course with our partners in global, setting the capacity building program, and of course, as mentioned regarding the transfer technology program, then increasing the public-private partnership program or mechanism that been set by the government, so that the involvement of the business, the investor, and also another funding agency are eager and also happy to do together to Indonesia. And I think Indonesia will continue actively the participation in the global collaboration regarding to the management and conservation of water resources. I think that is almost all of what I'm thinking, and congratulate to the government of Indonesia, and of course all of the government from the member of countries who are really actively participate in this 10th World Water Forum in Bali. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mego, for that very thorough explanation that pretty much sums up the importance of this World Water Forum all in one.
It's a great recap, Dr. Mego.
A great recap of every aspect of this World Water Forum, Dr. Mego. And as you mentioned just now, I mean, the goal seems to be clear here, that our goal is to have water for shared prosperity, and we have sustainable water for the future. But then in order to achieve that, there is just so many things to be done, and there's just so many stakeholders, so many countries collaborating to achieve that. And if we can just go to Mbak Fia, just now at the opening of the ceremony, they were showing the video clip of how the climate change affects water scarcity at the moment in the world. Can you please explain to us again, what is the state of our Earth at the moment, and how much does climate change is really affecting our water scarcity? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. And previously, I heard Pak Mego explained. I think it's very comprehensive explanation. it's like a lecture from you. Yeah. So in terms of climate change, we're in the critical moment. Actually, currently in Indonesia and also globally, water also affected from climate change. For example, as we've seen, various extreme events such as droughts or floods is also related to water. And as previously said at the opening ceremony, water, food, and energy nexus also related to climate change. Climate is kind of affecting our water flows in terms of water availability, water scarcity, and water quality also. For example, in Indonesia, we are facing several extreme events, droughts, and for example, it also impacted how Indonesia or global countries effort in mitigating and also adapting to climate challenges. Actually, several key approaches in related to water and climate. For example, as previously also have been said about nature-based solution, this is one of the solution that can be used for mitigating climate change. For example, restoring wetlands or forest that can help regulate water flows, reduce flood risk, and also improve water quality. And other thing, for example, climate resilient infrastructure, building infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather events is also crucial for countries, especially near the shore. This includes, for example, constructing dams and irrigation systems. And then, for example, for adaptation strategy measures, forecasting and early warning systems, also crucial, especially in predicting water scarcity or flooding events, especially for a country like Indonesia or Southeast Asian countries. And then, for example, integrating water into adaptation practices in water smart agriculture, promoting agriculture practices that
excuse us, I'm really sorry to cut you off, but we are going to go back to Bali to get a live feed of the conference that is just starting right now. Thank you so much. We'll get back to you. And now let's go to the conference room in Nusa Dua, Bali to see the beginning of the 10th World Water Forum. See there, President Joko Widodo seated right next to Puan Maharani, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
And we also have Minister Retno Marsudi standing behind. I think they're still just getting ready before they're starting this first forum of the day.
Now, as it is mentioned in the opening remarks by the President of WWC and President of Indonesia, also by our guest experts, collaboration is key to actually resolve the issue of water crisis in the world. That's why we see a lot of different leaders from different countries, different organizations, private sectors as well, to make sure that all stakeholders can contribute equally to this problem.
And this is the whole point of having World Water Forum, is to have this massive meeting where all the stakeholders, all, as you mentioned just now, the private sectors, all meeting up here in Bali in all sorts of forums and discussion to find out the solutions of what we can do in the future. And as we can see on the screen right now, President Joko Widodo right there is opening the forum.
Heads of international organizations, President of the World Water Council, Speaker of the Indonesian Parliament, distinguished delegates. The role of water is very central for human life. The World Bank estimates that the lack of water can slow down economic growth by 6% until the year 2050. Water scarcity can also trigger wars and can also be a source of disaster. Too much water, as well as too little water, can both be a problem for the world. In the last 10 years, Indonesia has strengthened its water infrastructure by building 42 dams, 1.18 million hectares of irrigation networks, 2,156 kilometers of flood control and coastal security systems, as well as by rehabilitating 4.3 million hectares of irrigation networks. Water is also used to construct the Cirata floating solar power plant as the largest floating solar power plant in Southeast Asia. Excellencies, the 10th World Water Forum is very strategic to revitalize concrete actions and shared commitments in manifesting integrated water resources management. There are 3 points that Indonesia has been consistently pushing for. First, strengthening the principles of solidarity and inclusivity to achieve solutions to common challenges, especially for small island countries and countries that are facing water scarcity. Second, empowering hydro-diplomacy towards concrete and innovative cooperation and avoiding competition in the management of transboundary water resources. Third, strengthening political leadership as a key to the success of various cooperation towards sustainable water security. And through this forum, Indonesia is proposing for new initiatives, namely the establishment of World Lake Day. Secondly, the establishment of a center of excellence in the Asia-Pacific region. Third, sustainable water management in small island states. And fourth, promoting water projects. Excellencies, water is not merely a product of nature, but it is a product of collaboration that unites us. Therefore, preserving it requires our collective efforts. And with this, I declare the high-level meeting of the 10th World Water Forum open. Next, I invite Mr. Loic Fauxiong, President of the World Water Council, to deliver his remarks. Sir, you have the floor.
Mr. President of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Head of States and Head of Governments, Excellencies, allow me once again to thank President Joko Widodo and his entire team for the fantastic organizations of the 10th World Water Forum. Our world, ladies and gentlemen, is suffering, and so are its inhabitants. Our Earth is damaged, and its natural resources are in great danger. This situation is often due to our lack of awareness. We all want to improve this situation and the injustice it causes. And during this week of the forum, let's turn our dreams in reality. Let's go to the waterbed through our actions. Let's work together to cure it of all the ills we have caused. We are working for people and we are working for nature to conserve and to enhance biodiversity and revitalize the ecosystems that surround and support us. Excellencies, you hold the highest responsibilities in your respective countries, in the field of water as in others also. That's why we say to you here, with respect and consideration, that we need you, your understanding, and your commitment, because water is politics. And in the future, water also will be hydro-diplomatics. And first of all, and that will be my first message, we need to identify better exactly what's happening to water in each of our countries. We are talking always about the climate. But the attacks on water, the lack of water security are also due to demographic growth, urban overcrowding, precarious housing, uncontrolled pollution, and their consequences for public health. The main cause of immigration in the world is from the countryside to the cities, which are becoming more and more huge reservoirs of poverty where hunger and disease reign. Excellencies, urban sprawl is not inevitable. We must first restore the essential services of water and energy to rural areas where half of the humanity now lives. And in practical terms, this means adapting water resources, distributing access to water, and implementing sanitation through the country. Technical solutions are known and are available to you. And if necessary, our World Water Council is there to make them known and to encourage exchange. My second message concerns the financing of water. Since the Dakar Forum 2 years ago and again today in Bali, we have been calling for the water debt to be waived for the poorest countries and cities. We want your help to ensure that a significant proportion of the various climate funds are directly earmarked for access to water sanitation and the repair of water-related disasters, droughts, and floods. Join our Money for Water coalition to help solve this financing problem. And the third message is to support the horizontal approach through the Five Fingers Alliance: water, energy, health, food and education, in innovation, financing and governance. It's by linking essential basic services that we make progress against poverty and for prosperity. And my last message concerns governance. Governance should guarantee an equitable responsibility shared between the states, between the basins, and between local authorities, because time of centralism is over. At international level, please call for water priority based on multilateral cooperation, and it's essential for strengthening the rules of mediation for rivers, lakes, and basins. Through hydro-diplomacy, as I've said, bringing peace to the banks rather than wars to the river. So you understand my call. You also, all together, could be water warriors. And I believe that in this way, through dialogue and sharing, that the future of water for prosperity and peace will be written. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih Yang Mulia.
Thank you, Excellency.
Selanjutnya saya
Next,
mengundang Yang
I
Mulia
invite His Excellency Dennis Francis, President of the 78th United Nations General Assembly, to deliver his
Yang Mulia,
remarks.
dipersilakan.
Excellency, you have the floor.
Your Excellency Joko Widodo, President of the Republic of Indonesia, Excellencies, the heads of state and government, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to join you here today in this beautiful city of Bali to participate in the 10th World Water Forum. I extend my gratitude both to the government of Indonesia and to the World Water Council for co-hosting this most important convocation and for their gracious invitation. Let me also express my deep appreciation to the authorities and people of Indonesia for their gracious hospitality and for the warmth of their reception, so expertly on display last evening at the welcome dinner, featuring the vivacious energy and dynamism of the youth of this richly diverse nation. Your exemplary leadership in championing the global water agenda recognizes that although water manifests through its availability or lack thereof locally, it is, in fact, a global resource gifted to us by nature, the distribution of which is a matter of geography and climate, and increasingly, in contemporary times, a matter of climate change. As we convene amidst the lush green landscapes and seascapes of enchanting Bali, inevitably we are reminded of the very essence of water as the source of all life on this planet, and indeed as a lifeline that transcends borders, cultures, and belief systems. Under the theme, Water for Shared Prosperity, we gather to deliberate on practical ways to foster better, efficient, and integrated management of the planet's increasingly scarce water resources in order to drive and support sustainable development rather than impairing it. Building upon the impressive momentum achieved during the March 2023 UN Water Conference, which mobilized more than 800 commitments compiled through the Water Action Agenda, I am hopeful that this forum will meaningfully boost progress in international cooperation and in the formulation and implementation of concrete actions to stabilize the medium to long-term availability and management of water, and indeed of the intergovernmental relationships that are key to guaranteeing sustainable outcomes. It is important that our efforts to better manage water resources are synergized with the broader agenda of achieving all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, all of which will be impacted by the availability of water. Excellencies, the indisputable reality is that we are facing a myriad of interconnected and complex challenges, among them climate change and water scarcity, and in many cases across the globe, water contamination, which itself imposes the additional problem of challenges to health and possibly, therefore, to life. Pragmatism dictates that as an international community, we do everything necessary and desirable to avoid water becoming a flashpoint for disagreement and open conflict. Bearing in mind that we are living at a time when the ease with which peace can be disrupted, and once disrupted, the difficulty of restoring it, it suggests that we must take all necessary precautions to avoid further imperiling it. Investment in water is therefore investment in sustainable development, but investment in global water cooperation constitutes an investment in peace, as indeed in the long-term stability of the water supply. Success therefore demands that we unite in common cause and act strategically to surmount these challenges and to fortify and guarantee our resilience, recognizing that water cooperation initiatives are absolutely essential to creating a world of prosperity that is at the same time water secure and peaceful. Over the coming days, let us address the bottlenecks in our implementation and explore innovative solutions that harness the transformative power of water as a catalyst for peace, solidarity, and shared prosperity. Through its 6 sub-themes, this forum affords us an opportunity to take stock of our progress, raise awareness, and exchange views on how best to leverage water as a driver of sustainable development, rather than as a driver of conflict and confrontation among states. One definitive approach lies in collaborative innovation, which holds huge potential for unlocking the full potential of our water's resources. By adopting innovative financing models and leveraging technological advancement, we can enhance our capacity to manage food and energy consumption sustainably, thereby also paving the way for a brighter future for generations to come. I urge each and every one of you to seize the opportunity before us, to forge connections, share insights, and galvanize collective action towards building a water-secure and sustainable world. Mindful that in many parts of the world, the ocean and seas are the main supply of water, we must pay attention to the condition and circumstances of our oceans. In this regard, I should like to emphasize that as a cornerstone of my presidency of the General Assembly, I decided to spotlight the dire threats posed by sea level rise. This looming specter represents not merely a challenge, but a real threat to the safety, security, and indeed survival of small island developing states and low-lying coastal communities. What is at stake could well be the inundation and loss of territory on the part of these vulnerable countries, not to mention the potential loss of culture and heritage that would accompany their submergence. Given the fragile nature of these economies and the fact that they did not cause the problem of climate change, it seems correct as a matter of ethics and principle that they should receive the support and cooperation of the international community in coping with the challenges resulting from sea level rise. At my initiative, the General Assembly has taken bold and decisive action towards building momentum on urgent and targeted redress, notably through the decision to convene a high-level plenary meeting on sea level rise on September 25, 2024. My hope is to see today's Water Forum outcomes being leveraged at this high-level plenary meeting and the much-anticipated Summit of the Future also in September. Let us seize upon these momentous events as clarion calls to action, igniting decisive measures to champion our water agenda while also combating the imminent crisis of sea level rise. Ladies and gentlemen, as I close, let us draw inspiration from the Balinese philosophy and channel the spirit of Tri Hita Karana throughout the World Water Forum, recognizing that water is not only a source of physical sustenance, but also a sacred element that binds humanity to the rhythms of nature, also fostering harmony between humanity and the environment. Together, in harmony with ourselves and our environments, we can overcome the challenges we face and navigate towards a secure future where water becomes a true source of solidarity, unity, prosperity, and peace. I look forward to the outcomes of this forum and retain high confidence in its significant contribution to the UN water agenda, particularly in informing the deliberations leading up to the UN Water Conference scheduled for 2026. I thank you.
Terima kasih, Yang Mulia.
Thank you, Excellency.
Selanjutnya saya
Next,
mengundang
I
Yang Mulia
invite His Excellency Antonio Guterres,
Sekretaris Jenderal PBB
Secretary
untuk
General of the
menyampaikan
United Nations,
pidato
to
melalui video
deliver
message.
his remarks
Yang Mulia, saya
via video
persilakan.
message. Excellency, you have the floor.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank the government of Indonesia and the World Water Council for organizing this important gathering. Water is life. It is central to healthy people, ecosystems, and biodiversity. And as this year's theme reminds us, water is key to our shared prosperity. Yet, water is under threat. Needless competition, mindless consumption, and reckless pollution are draining and poisoning the world's lifeblood. Climate change is pushing water temperatures to deadly new highs. Glaciers are melting, seas are rising, and river flows are shrinking. And people will pay the price in droughts, ruined crops, malnutrition, disease, and disasters. Governments around the world are waking up to this crisis. This forum is a critical opportunity to discuss solutions around water and sanitation, disaster risk reduction, governance, finance, and innovation. The United Nations stand with you in these efforts. Following last year's UN Water Conference, we will launch the UN system-wide strategy on water and sanitation in July. The UN Water Conferences in 2026 and 2028 will be milestone moments for the world to carry this work forward. We need to put water at the center of all our efforts on climate, biodiversity, and sustainable development. Let's work as one to give this vital issue the attention it needs. Let's take action for water, and I thank you.
Terima kasih, Yang Mulia.
Thank you, Excellency.
Yang mulia, kita telah
Excellencies,
mendengarkan
we
pandangan
have
dari
listened
PBB
to the views of the
dan
United Nations,
perspektif yang
and
lebih luas.
a broader perspective
Tentu
is certainly
sangat
needed,
diperlukan, termasuk dari
including
parlemen
from
sebagai
parliaments
wakil
as
rakyat.
representatives of the
Pada
people.
kesempatan ini,
On this occasion,
saya menyambut baik
I
pertemuan
welcome
yang akan
the meeting that will be
diselenggarakan
hosted
oleh Dewan
by
Perwakilan
the House of
Rakyat
Representatives
Republik
of the
Indonesia dan
Republic of
Persatuan
Indonesia
Antar Parlemen
and the
di
Interparliamentary
sela-sela
Union
Forum Air Sedunia
on the
ke-10.
sidelines of the 10th World Water
Untuk
Forum.
itu,
For that,
selanjutnya saya mengundang
I wish to invite
Yang Mulia
Her
Ibu
Excellency
Puan Maharani,
Mrs.
Ketua
Puan
DPR
Maharani,
Republik
Speaker
Indonesia.
of the
Yang
House of
Mulia,
Representatives of the
saya
Republic of
persilahkan.
Indonesia. Excellency, you have the floor.
Yang Mulia Presiden Republik Indonesia, Bapak Joko
Your Excellency,
Widodo,
the President of the
Yang
Republic of
Mulia
Indonesia,
para
Mr.
pemimpin
Joko
negara dan
Widodo,
pemerintah,
heads
yang
of
terhormat
government,
Presiden World Water Council,
heads
yang terhormat para menteri,
all
kita
the President
duduk
of World
bersama
Water Council,
untuk satu
ministers,
tujuan,
we
yaitu
are here
merespon
together to
berbagai
respond
tantangan
to
global
a
yang
number
tidak
of
pernah
global
terjadi
threats that has
sebelumnya,
never happened
mulai dari
beforehand,
kelangkaan
unprecedented
air,
global
banjir,
challenges, ranging from
kekeringan,
water scarcity,
kebakaran hutan,
floods,
hingga
droughts,
kekurangan
forest
gizi,
fires to
dan berbagai
malnutrition,
persoalan
disease
kesehatan lainnya.
outbreaks, and various other health
Ancaman
issues.
krisis air juga telah
In
lebih
line with the
nyata,
impact of
bahkan
climate
menjadi
change, the threat
sleeping
of food and
crisis.
energy crisis has become a
Organisasi
sleeping
PBB
crisis.
untuk lingkungan
The United
mencatat
Nations
lebih dari
Environmental
50%
Organization notes
penduduk
that more than
dunia
50%
sedang
of the world's
menghadapi
population
kekurangan air
is facing water
setidaknya
shortages
satu kali
at
dalam
least
sebulan.
once a month.
Namun demikian,
However,
perhatian
the
masyarakat
attention of the international
internasional saat ini
community at this
lebih
time
fokus pada
is
isu
currently focused on
geopolitik,
geopolitical
persaingan
issues,
kekuatan,
power
dan
competition,
kompetisi
and
ekonomi,
economic
bukan pada
competition,
isu
not
ketahanan
only
air.
on water security
Studi
issues.
terbaru
Recent
menunjukkan
studies show
peningkatan
a significant
belanja
increase
militer
in military spending,
hingga mencapai
reaching
2,4 triliun
trillion US
pada
dollars
tahun
by
2023.
2023.
Jumlah itu
That
mencapai
amounts to 2.3%
PDB
of
global.
global GDP.
Pada saat yang sama,
At the same
pengeluaran
time,
sektor air
water
di negara
sector
berkembang
spending in
dan
developing
negara
and
miskin
poor
hanya
countries
0,5%
is only
dari PDB
0.5%
negaranya.
of their GDP.
Nampaknya
It seems
kita terjebak
that we are
dalam
stuck
kondisi
in a state of
misalokasi
resource
sumber daya.
misallocation.
Ini sungguh
This is a
kontradiktif ketika dunia
contradictory when the world
dihadapkan
is
pada
faced with
ancaman luar
tremendous
biasa,
threats,
termasuk yang
including
ditimbulkan
those
oleh
posed
perubahan
by
iklim dan
climate
kelangkaan
change
air.
and water scarcity.
Jika parlemen dan
If the
pemerintah
parliament and the
mampu
government are
meningkatkan
able to
pendanaan
increase funding
untuk pengadaan
for
air
clean
bersih,
water
maka
provision,
persoalan
then the
kelangkaan
problem of
air
water
akan
scarcity
dapat diselesaikan
will be
secara
significantly
signifikan.
resolved.
Parlemen dengan
The
teguh
Parliament
mendukung
has
berbagai
steadfastly
inisiatif
supported
untuk
various
air
initiatives
dan
for water
melakukan realokasi
and
sumber daya
reallocated resources
untuk
for
ketahanan
water
air.
security.
Parlemen siap
Parliament
memainkan
is ready
peran
to play its
sebagai
role
institusi
as
yang
an
mewakili
institution
rakyat
that represents the
untuk
people
melakukan aksi
to take
demi
action to
menyelesaikan
resolve water
persoalan
issues
air di
at the
level
national
nasional
and international
maupun
levels.
internasional. Pada pertemuan parlemen
At the
siang
parliamentary
nanti,
meeting this
kami akan
afternoon,
membahas
we will discuss
4 isu
the following
substantif
4
sebagai
substantive
berikut,
issues,
yaitu
namely
water as a deal breaker
to achieve sustainable development,
innovative
innovative practices for inclusive and equitable access to water,
water at the
heart of climate actions,
and water
diplomacy,
cooperation and
and
science for
cooperation,
peace.
and also science
Komitmen
for
parlemen
peace. The
terhadap
commitment
agenda
of the
air
Parliament
sangat
to the
kuat.
water agenda is
Isu
very
air
strong.
akan menjadi
Water
prioritas
issues will be a
parlemen di dalam
priority
negeri
for
maupun
Parliament
melalui
domestically
diplomasi parlemen.
and through parliamentary
Pemerintah
diplomacy.
dan parlemen
Governments and
memiliki
parliaments
tanggung jawab
have a
yang
shared
sama
responsibility
untuk mengubah
to
kondisi
transform
kelangkaan
the
air
impacts of climate
menjadi
change
ketahanan
and
air
water
dan
scarcity
menjadikan air
into
sebagai sumber
water
kerjasama
security and make
internasional.
water a source of peace
Akhirnya,
and
saya
prosperity.
mengajak,
I ask
mari
all
kita
relevant
lipat
parties
gandakan
to work
upaya
together for this
bersama,
important global
sehingga
agenda
hak semua orang
so
atas
that
air bersih
every
dapat
right
terpenuhi
for
dan
clean water
parlemen
will be fulfilled.
siap
And
untuk menjadi bagian
Parliament is
dari
ready
aksi
to be
bersama
part of
ini.
this
Terima
collective
kasih.
action. Thank you.
Terima kasih Yang
Thank
Mulia.
you, Excellency.
Berikutnya,
Next,
kita masuk ke sesi
we will
forum.
enter the
Dan
closed
dengan hormat
session.
saya persilahkan
I respectfully invite
rekan-rekan media
colleagues
untuk
from the media to
ruangan
vacate the meeting room. Thank you.
There you go. We just witnessed the high-level meeting right there at the opening day of the 10th World Water Forum, where President Joko Widodo opened the meeting with another speech where he mentioned about the importance of strengthening solidarity and inclusivity, empowering hydro diplomacy, and also strengthening political leadership. And then it was followed by a speech by Louis Fashong, the World Water Council president, and he talked about water politics and hydro diplomacy. That was a very interesting
point right
that
there.
he made.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just now we also have heard another speech by the President of UN General Assembly, Dennis Francis, as well as there was a video message by the Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres. I think he also delivered a very, very concise speech where he said, you know, this water issue, we people are actually paying the price right now. We have so many natural disasters happening. We have heat wave, you know, flooding and also landslides happening. And he's also saying that governments are now waking up to these problems, and now this is actually a critical moment for us, all the nations in the world, to find out the solution. And he also said that the UN stands with the World Water Forum in this.
Yes, and it's very encouraging to see the President of the UN General Assembly, Dennis Francis, attending the World Water Forum, because the expectation is when we get the resolution from this year's WWF, the resolution will be brought upon the General Assembly at the UN. So all countries in the world can also implement whatever the resolution that is achieved here. And then it was ended with a speech by Puan Maharani, Speaker of the House of Representatives of Indonesia, who's also representing the Interparliamentary Union, who's also in attendance right here in Bali for the World Water Forum. Because as we mentioned before, this is not just a mere conference of sharing ideas and knowledge and experiences, but the expectation is everything that is shared is implemented into policies and laws and regulation that can actually be felt by people in the grassroots. So now let's go back to our guest experts who's been so patient with us. They're staying put with us, and now we can talk a little bit more with them about the points that has been made by the state leaders that are attending the high-level meeting. Now let's go back to Dr. Mego. First of all, thank you so much, Dr. Mego, for staying with us. I want to go back to a point that was mentioned by you at the beginning of our program, and then again by Louis Fashong, the president of the World Water Council, and President Joko Widodo, and that is the importance of collaboration. Now, you also mentioned how important it is to make sure that all stakeholders are collaborating to achieve sustainable water management. Now, of course, one of the aspects of this collaboration involves international organizations and NGOs. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more. What do you think are the role of international organizations and NGOs to facilitate cooperation and coordination among countries, especially, of course, on water-related issues?
Yes, thank you very much. As mentioned by the Secretary General, and of course with what described by the World Water Councils, I think the international organization and also NGO play very important role regarding to the facilitating of the cooperation and the coordinating. The government of Indonesia, for example, get together with the various stakeholders, international organizations. It is, for example, linked to the financial organization, World Bank, IDB, ADB, and so on. And of course, with the political, since we know that our parliament of the head of the parliaments and said about the intergovernmental parliaments need to be discussed more in detail. And of course, the NGO, they continue to drive the development of the existing technology and also existing knowledge, and took more in, for example, the large scale, not only one or two area, or the, for example, in Bali or in several area in Indonesia, but of course, we need to put it in more wider reach so that we're able to contribute regionally. For example, in ASEAN, And also, of course, we are also linked with the Asia Pacific regional. We also support with the archipelagic islands and so on with ICE. So this is very important to Indonesia when we talk about what the president and also the Secretary General said about the collaboration, the hydro diplomacy, the scientific diplomacy. I think it is very important also as the processing and the position of Indonesia right now, because we are also in the G20, and sometimes we have many programs that supported to our neighbor, the less developed country, and so on. So it thinks that the organization, international organization, NGO, are very useful to extend our diplomacy program, especially in the world water policy. And we took these various challenges and problems faced to continue to be studied, to be researched, and of course by discussion and also taking many what we call try to find out the alternative solution. And of course, again, the collaboration. It is very important to make more collaboration in the sustainable management, for example, the water resources. And of course, as we know that some international organizations and NGO are also doing from Indonesia and from outside. We need to look at the situation. We need to look at the really what they are doing with Indonesia. Please be reminded that we are also very what we call doing very active in the particularly in the collaboration with many NGO and many other organizations. So hopefully with this involving of the organization, international organization and NGO, we can also have more alternative solution regarding to the what we call the integrating water management system, and especially in the broader of the what we have been done in doing research and conducted research for the climate change adaptation and climate change mitigation strategy. I think that's all. Really, we need them.
Yes, that's our wish and hope.
Of course, there are big hopes and big expectations to come out from this World Water Forum, especially since there are so many stakeholders join to find out what are the exact solutions that can be done and what are the exact steps to be taken. Now, if we can go to Mbak Fia, just now the Secretary General of the UN have mentioned once again that we are currently paying the price now with so many natural disasters happening because we did not pay enough attention to the climate change. Now, my question for you is, how are countries then integrating the water management into their broader climate change adaptation and mitigation strategies, since every country have different climate problem?
Yeah, so thank you very much for the questions. As we know, amidst the global challenges, climate change is very, I think, now currently we're in the climate crisis, in the middle of crisis, where sea level rise, as mentioned before, and then water scarcity, water pollution became a problem, not only in a Indonesian landscape, but also in a global challenges. And how countries can mitigate or adapting to climate change related to water is also different for each country, because it depends on their own characteristics. For example, a country like Indonesia, with past natural resources, we can push more nature-based solutions. For example, as previously also mentioned in the opening ceremony, like mangrove or wetlands conservation is needed to regulate more water flows and for sustainable water management. And then other strategies can be developed in countries, for example, developing early warning systems or investing in resilient infrastructure to build infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather events or, for example, like floods or storms is also crucial. And other thing is embedding, I think, for us, for countries to mitigate the climate challenges, we also need to see the water, food, and energy nexus, where three of that is driven by climate change, but also can contribute to climate adaptation or mitigation strategy. For example, how can water can be used for generating electricity. We have like huge opportunity in developing that infrastructure, and then how can water can be used for more sustainable agriculture processing, and then how can actually managing efficient water can be used and can be utilized for more sustainable industrial practices, for example, for wastewater treatment, and then integrating circular economy practices in the industry. So actually there are various kind of solutions that can be implemented, and it's different for each country. Even, for example, in Indonesia, we develop one solution in Java Island, but it's going to be different when we implement that in Borneo, for example. So again, we need to see and catch the opportunity for each characteristic of each regions and countries, and then we can see future opportunities on that by mitigating and adapting to climate challenges.
All right, thank you, Mbak Fia, for sharing with us your perspective on conservation-based solutions for the climate crisis. And indeed, I think we all can agree that climate change is indeed one of the biggest existential crises that is faced by humanity. But in terms of the topics discussed by the delegates right here at the WWF, there are more problems ahead, like geopolitical tension, clean energy transition. So now I'm very looking forward to your opinion, Dr. Megho, and we have been learning so much from your explanation, but due to time constraints, maybe you can also use this opportunity to give us your closing statement by highlighting what do you think are the biggest issues that need to be discussed and need to have a resolution for it in this 10th WWF. What do you think, Dr. Megho?
Yes, thank you very much. I think, as we know that we understand very well about the facing problem regarding to the water and the how to look at for this solution. With this forum, we really do hope that all of the delegates, all of the members can come to sit together to discuss what kind of the thing, what kind of the exactly the existing technology, the existing thinking to be shared by side by side by each other. And we have also looking for the supported, that is including the finance support, because we cannot do nothing. We do nothing if we cannot do with the supporting from the financial. And the other things for example, for the geopolitical tension, we know that some of water resources are, according to the challenge of the transbordering. So how to discuss more detail, how to negotiate and support it by each members. The good management, the environmental conservation, and the ecosystem protection are very crucial things, not only with the geopolitics, but we need to think that we are in the one earth of the human being in the one earth. So we have to look at what kind of thinking, what kind of need that our neighborhood needs if we have such kind of the water resources. So it is very important also to look at the potential collaboration, not only with doing research and discussion, but deal directly with the tradition, with the what we call the society needs in the daily life. So we can get more example when we look at our neighbor in the archipelagic islands countries, and of course with the people who are living in the very dry lands and so on. So how we can discuss more in detail regarding to the, for example, utilizing of the local wisdom to increase the literacy, educations, doing science and technology, not only with the high technology, but the appropriate technology. We can, some things we need to understand that appropriate technology is not low-level technology, but really appropriate, even it's a need more in the new materials, the new technology, and new IT elements for water conservation, reserving, and so on. So again, we
Dr.
need doing together and talk together.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mego, for your point there. There's so much to talk about, but because of our time constraint, we need to move on. And before we close our special report today, I'd like to go lastly to Mbak Fia to have your closing statement. What are your expectations coming out of the World Water Forum in Bali?
I want to highlight and touch on the hydro diplomacy process that has been on discussion. As previously mentioned, that investment in global water management means investment in peace. And indeed, this is a crucial moment for countries to collaborate, to talk about it, because the population growth, economic development, climate change, and other issues, and growing water scarcity leading to increase the competition over water. And it needs to manage the transboundary water resources amidst the geopolitical tension. So I think one of the things that I hope that can be resulted from this forum is transboundary water resources is being discussed, and how international organizations can also act as mediators in water disputes, and how can countries collaborate for more peace and towards the prosperity, shared prosperity of water in managing sustainable water management. I think that's one of the things that is very crucial in this forum. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mbak Fia. So our deepest gratitude to our guest speakers, Dr. Mego Pinandito, Deputy Chairman for Development Policy of BRIN, and Fia Azlia Widiadi, Research Associate Climate Policy Research Unit of CSIS Indonesia. Thank you so much for sharing with us your time and your insights. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and we had such a very interesting discussion today.
We did.
Lots to learn. I mean, water is simple.
It's eye-opening.
Turns out, I mean, there is so much that we have learned today. Thank you so much for joining us here on our special report today. And please tune in later on at 2:30, where we will have another special report about the leaders' visit to the Tahura mangrove forest in Bali. So, I am Luisa Kusnandar.
And I'm Siska Becker. Looking forward to see you at the next special report, but you'll have Starting Point right after this. So stay tuned for that as well. Until then, goodbye and take care.
Bye.